At what point were you like, I feel like I can do this. I can actually become a tattoo artist.
The moment that I put the needle in my skin, I was like, yeah, I'm going to continue to do this. Because like I said, when I was younger, I had the idea of like, this is what I want to do. And so once I got all my stuff, I was like, let's go. I connect with people in like a personal level.
Yeah.
And so it's different when you're connecting with like a business,
Sure.
Business level, you go out, you have dinners, you do this, you talk about business. I talk about like, what are you going through now?
Yeah. But dude, that's what a good networker
He is a
would
good
say,
networker,
dude.
bro.
That's like they say like the best salespeople are the ones that you don't know you're getting sold to. Welcome to this episode of the Confidence Quotient podcast. I'm your host, Michael Carrillo. Joined with me, co-host Zane Kaufman.
What up?
Sitting on my left, we've got somebody named Justin Villalobos. Big time tattoo artist, entrepreneur, hair extraordinaire.
Dude, great guy in general.
Yeah. It's funny because you're super tatted, he's super tatted, and everybody's wearing pants and sweaters today because it's raining. And so we're not even seeing anything, but we believe you, dog.
I can take my sweater off if you like. I can do this interview with no shirt on.
Well, I mean, wow.
That'd be a first.
That would be a first.
That'd be a first on the
That'd definitely
pod.
a first. Well, Zane, you know Justin, you've known him for a little while now. So tell us about Justin. I know most people are going to know about him already, but give us a little bit of bio here.
It's funny. This is actually the first day that Justin and I have actually met in person. Every other time we've either done Zoom or phone call. And so Justin started out, tattooing pretty young, right? I think, weren't you like 16 when you first started?
That's when I got into tattooing, but actual tattooing, I was in my early 20s. But
Cool.
Drawing, practicing, preparing mentally.
Big art guy.
And were you just tattooing friends like when you first started or what was that?
Yeah, I was just tattooing in my garage, like most tattoo artists.
Yeah. I got to think that, like, for me personally, if my boy comes up to me and he's like, hey, dude, I'm working on this new thing that I got going on. I'm tattooing people. Like, can I practice on you? There would have to be a lot. I would have to love you like a brother to be like, yeah, bro, like you can definitely practice on me. Like, who was the first person that you tatted and how did that conversation go?
I tattooed myself first.
Okay.
And then
that's a pretty easy conversation, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, after that, I was just like asking all my friends, like, do you want one? And they're like, no. And then finally, my friend David, he was just like, yeah, sure. And then we just did like a little one on his leg.
Yeah.
And then after I tattooed him, everybody was like, okay, maybe I'll let you try.
What was the first one you did? Do you remember?
Yeah, it said R.I.P. Bertha. He had this truck that had just died on him.
Oh, wow.
So
Man, he must have loved that truck.
I know.
yeah, it was a big white truck.
Well, that's why it was Bertha.
So you're in your 20s,
Yep.
you're tattooing. At what point were you like, okay, I feel like I can do this. I can actually become a tattoo artist. This is what I want to do. Maybe that passion started to fill, your headspace of like, this is where I want to take my life.
The moment that I put the needle in my skin, I was like, yeah, I'm going to continue to do this. Because like I said, when I was younger, I had the idea of like, this is what I want to do. And so once I got all my stuff, I was like, let's go. And I just kept on going. I never thought I was going to stop doing it. It was never like, oh, maybe I'll do this, maybe I won't. It's just like, okay, I'm doing this now.
Mm-hmm.
Dope. And you were like, I mean, that was probably like your Spider-Man gets bit by a radioactive spider moment. Like, dude, this is it for me. Were you ever like, I mean, obviously, dude, you're really successful now. You're tattooing really, big time celebrities, and we'll get into all that stuff. But was that the vision initially, or were you just like, dude, I love this art. I love what I'm doing, and I want to just be able to express myself in this way?
I just love tattooing. I didn't really have like a bigger picture. I was just like, I want to do this. I was going to school at the time for animation, and so I was like doing art, but it just didn't like satisfy me.
Mm-hmm.
Once I got the needle and I tattooed my friend, it's just like, oh yeah, this is nice. Like, my tattoos weren't great, but I had a good time doing it, and I just wanted to get better and better.
Yeah, and so from there, you actually went to arguably one of the more famous black and gray shops in the world. I mean, now they're international, right? Yeah. At Lowrider. How was that transition going from tattooing in your garage to, man, maybe I need to learn a little bit. Maybe I don't know enough about tattooing. Now I need to go learn from somebody and get into maybe like Lowrider. Like what was that like?
So during school, during classes, I'd be on the computer, just like looking at, because they would, this was before Instagram, so they would post like a blog post and their new tattoos every week or whoever, you know. And so every week I was just looking at them. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go here and get tattooed. And so I went and I got tattooed by this guy named Miguel, and he did some writing on my arms. And I felt the vibe of the shop. Everyone was like so friendly, and so like that was in like the back of my head. I was like, this is the best shop ever. I want to work here. And then so I got my stuff and I started tattooing from my garage, and then just kept on going and going and going. And then at the same time I'm going to school, so I'm like practicing painting on the computer and stuff. And then one day I was just like, I think it's time for me. I don't know how long it was, but I was like, it's time for me to go and see if I can get an apprenticeship. And so I went in and I actually talked to Miguel again, and he was like, yo, are you trying to get a tattoo? And I was like, nah, I want to see if I can apprentice here. And then he said, okay, like, let me talk to Jose for you. And we had to wait for Jose to get there because he doesn't start until like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And then as I was waiting for him, Miguel told me I should like make a portfolio. I made a portfolio from my like tattoos to my schoolwork and everything, just to show him like the amount of art that I was doing. And then Jose was like, when do you want to start? And I said, whenever. He's like, you want to come back tomorrow? I said, sure. And at the time I was working at Albertsons, and I went in to work that night, and I was like, yeah, I'm never coming back here. And then they said, you have to put 2 weeks. And I was like, all right, I put my 2 weeks in. I won't be here though. And I just never showed up again. I just was only at the shop.
Wow. That's awesome. What was there like a motivating moment for you? Was like, okay, like this has gone too far on my own. Like I need, like, was there a moment, or was it just like, I like their stuff, I want to go check it out?
They were always inspiration. Like,
yeah.
Jose, Miguel, June, and this other artist, Little B, were like the people that were posting the most on the blog. And so, like I said, every week I was just like, whoa. And I was just like, this is what I want to do. I want to do like portraits. And then they were doing a lot of portraits, but then it started to get into like the like statue work type of stuff. And then that's kind of like when I started. And then I started to learn more about that, and I was like, whoa, this is even sicker than that. So I don't know if I like followed what they were doing, but I was inspired by it.
Yeah. There's something about being in an environment with other super creative people that are killing it, that are doing what you want to be doing, that starts to really like inspire you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the other part about it. All those people that you're mentioning at Lowrider are massively successful tattoo artists now.
Yeah.
They were then, but you know, their following has grown, and you know, there are a lot of people, those are tattoo artists that people look up to now, right? And so, man, there was so much talent in one space that it's hard not to learn, right? Or not to be like, man, this is where I want to go. And maybe, like you said, they're taking you in directions that you didn't even think that you would go into. Like, I see so many people now getting tattoos of statue faces, of more like Gothic religion, or architecture. Like architecture is a huge one now.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was, started to get away from that like Chicano to more of that high end. Can you talk about the transition from when you first went to Lowrider and they're that Chicano black and gray, and now they're getting into more like a high end type of art, if you will?
From like what I remember is like the shop when I first got there was very Chicano based. You know, there was a lot of like Chicano artwork on the walls and stuff like that. And then the longer that I had been there, it started to change. And Jose did like a remodel of the shop. He got Venetian plaster everywhere. He got some statues in the corners and stuff. And it just like it really changed the vibe. But that was like the artwork they were doing. And I think that because they were going to Europe so much and they were taking like actual references themselves and creating these images, it really like they were like the pioneers of creating this like high end, like luxury, like tattoo movement, I guess. And I think to me, Jun Cha was the one who I think started that. He had his own like private studio. He was like, it was like very, very crisp. Everything was clean, black and white, marble. And then, I think everybody else started kind of following suit within that.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously we talk a lot about confidence here on the show. Stepping into a new environment with a lot of people that are kind of already established in their style.
Yeah.
Was there ever a sense of maybe insecurity, like being around that caliber of person? And then also within that, like, how did you start to find your own lane, your own voice, being surrounded by so many people like that?
I think I was just inspired. And so I was just trying to be like them. I was like, I need to get my work better. I need to grind hard. Jose's known for doing like crazy long hours, and so everybody adapted to that. And so I was like, I need to do this too. And I wasn't ever, like, when I first started there, like, actually tattooing, I was nervous when they would look at my stuff.
Right.
Because I was like, oh, they're watching me. I don't want to fuck this up. But I was just trying to be, as nice as at tattooing as they were. They were like the top. So I was like, I need to be this good to, be here.
And you never doubted that you could get to that level?
No, I was like, I could already do that. And then I looked at it, I was like, this fucking looks like shit. But I was just striving for that. Because not if they could do it, I could do it. But, I just wanted to, like, prove to myself, like, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this.
Yeah. And then how did you start to find your own lane within that?
I mean, I think it's forever changing. I was doing a lot of that work at the beginning because that was the shop and that was, what I was around. And then, I left the shop and I was kind of doing similar stuff. And then I started tattooing in LA and it changed drastically. I was doing, I do fine line, minimal single needle tattoos now, but I still go back to that sometimes. And people will get those tattoos and it's like, oh, this is refreshing because I know how to do this type of work. And it's cool that now I can like make a mini portrait of this thing that I was trying to make like this big before. So I think it's forever changing. It's as art should, as I progress and as I get older, I like different things. And
you never want to feel like you arrived as an artist.
No. Then you're just stuck in that one section.
One spot. That's how you get passed up.
Yeah. I mean, so you're at Lowrider, you're learning a ton.
Yeah.
You're still an apprentice at this time.
Yeah.
What was the deciding factor? Because I know you moved on from Lowrider and started to do your own thing and work with some other people. What was the deciding factor there of, okay, my time at Lowrider's done? Because that's a hard decision to make for a lot of artists getting out of there.
Yeah, I was so nervous to tell Jose, like, yo, I gotta bounce. But we had a big group meeting, and I'm not one to follow the rules very much, and I kind of just like do what I do. And he kind of like set boundaries of like, you have to be here at this time, you have to work from this time. You have to work from this time to this time, and you're gonna need to be here for the next like 3 years or whatever. And I was like, dang, I don't know if like I can commit to that, and I don't want to like fail at doing that. So I'm gonna just kind of dip out right now, even though I wasn't ready to be by myself at all. But I still felt that I couldn't live up to what he was asking for. So I was like, I gotta leave. And he was like, I'm upset, but you faced it like a man. You told me, and none of these, nobody else here kind of could man up to that. So I respect you for that, but fuck you. But I just actually saw him the other day at a convention in Pasadena, and I haven't seen him since I left.
Wow.
Just through Instagram and stuff. And he was very like welcoming. He's like, yo, it's good to see you. And I chopped it up with him just for like a little bit, and it was cool.
That's awesome. I mean, that's how those relationships should end. Like you need to take care of the people that leave, because you never know. Like one day you might want to work with them again, and you never want to burn any bridges. But I think what you said was really important, because a lot of people, I think they'll wait until it's almost too late to jump out and start their own thing versus, all right, dude. I'm what do they say? Like, you're building the tracks as you're riding on it. Like that was kind of you, right? Like you're jumping out like a baby eagle, still sprouting its wings, and you're kind of forced to sink or swim at that point, right?
Yeah, I had no other way of making money, so I was like, I have to tattoo. I was I was living with my mom. Yeah, I was bringing the clients that I had tattooed at the shop to my mom's like house, in my bedroom. I moved from the garage to the bedroom, and then. And that's when I started doing like house calls too. So I do a lot of house calls now, but because I didn't want to bring like so many people to my house, I was like, I'll just come to your house. And so I started going to people's houses. And then one of the guys that I started going to his house, he moved to Texas, and then he's like, yo, come to Texas. And so I would go to Texas, and I started tattooing people in Texas, and I would come back. And then like every couple months I would just go to Texas. And then there was another artist that I would hang out with quite a bit, and he would go to Europe. And so I would go with him. I wasn't working that much because my work wasn't, on par, but I did like little tattoos here and there. But it was cool. And then, through that I met other people, and then I got to tattoo in France with my friend Hugo for a little while, and like that helped me. He's like, I got to learn from him a different style of black and gray, where it's like more mag work than, the guys at Lowrider, they do a lot of like fine line stuff. So like liner shading, whip shading and stuff like that. So it was evolving from then too. And then,
I mean, that's dope, dude. Like you're traveling, you're going all these different places, you're learning from other people. How did your mindset start to shift now from just being like an artist in a shop? You're not really worried about overhead or worried about running a business to now, like, dude, you're an entrepreneur and you're hustling.
Man, it fucking sucks. So much harder. Yeah, you know, it's a little bit more stressful because I have to think about not only myself, you know, making money, but I have to worry about, like, I have 2 employees. They help me with 2 different things, and I have to worry about them too. So I can't just be like, fuck it, I'll just not work for the next month. It's like, well, then these 2 people aren't going to make money. And then like, if they are still working, I'm losing a lot more money because I have to pay them while I'm not working. So that also lights a fire to where I have to like work harder so I can afford them and afford to live a comfortable life. So it makes me want to make more money and things to make more money.
Right.
Yeah. And from where you were then, obviously you're in your own studio now.
Yeah.
Right. That was a big gap. How did you get there? I know the people that you tattoo and you've tattooed some huge names. How did you start to get some traction with bringing on some clientele and you know, getting people kind of in the pipeline to, hey, now I'm starting to get booked out a month, 2 months, 3 months.
Okay. So like I said, I was doing a lot of traveling and I didn't have like a stable place. And then Miguel, the guy who helped me get into Lowrider, he hit me up and it's like, bro, like I know you're moving around, I know you're doing stuff, but you have to like to really build not like a clientele. You need a place to tattoo. And he's like, I'm getting this new studio. There's like an extra spot. I really think that you should like have a home base. And I said, fuck, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Then he told me again, like, you should really do this. And I was like, okay. So I started working with Miguel in this like 3-story studio, and I had the top floor, and I was struggling to pay the rent for there. It was like $1,500, and I was like, fuck, I can't, like, I'm not. He was right, like, I don't have enough clients here to even like pay this rent, and I had crashed my car. Well, I didn't crash my car. Somebody hit me, and so I had no car, so I had to like Uber there, and yeah, I was like just trying to like, I was barely holding on. And luckily, another artist came and rented that space, and so I got to have like a little less rent. And because of that, I was like, I need to do something to get my work out there. And so I started reaching out to like influencers and people who had a lot of followers on Instagram. And I was just like, hey, do you want a tattoo? And same thing. You can come to the studio in Orange County, but most of them were in LA. So I was like, I'll come to you. It doesn't matter. And yeah, they just replied to me. I emailed them, I DM'd them, just a bunch of people. And I got people who wanted free stuff. And so they gave me some love on their Instagram. And then I got into that like network of LA. And then just you meet one person, then you kind of meet everybody.
That's sick. So you're going on your Explore page and you're just sliding into DMs.
Yeah. Even to people who didn't even have tattoos. Like if I saw they had a tattoo, hey, what's up? I'm a tattoo artist from Orange County. If you would like a tattoo, big or small, I'm trying to grow my page. If you like a tattoo, big or small, I'm trying to grow my page. I just want some like love. If you like my work, like hit me back. And then I got some messages back. And then I like sometimes I emailed or DM'd a bunch of people, and then they never responded to me. And then I would tattoo somebody else, and they would be friends with them, and then they would tag me or whatever. And then I would see that I sent them that message like 2 years before, and I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Do you still do that at all? You still message people? No. At this point, they're all coming to you.
No. The problem with that was that like I was doing it so much that people started saying like, oh, you're the guy who gives free tattoos to like everybody. It's like, I don't give free tattoos to everybody, you know? I was trying to build, so people would see my work. And then, so I had to like really stop doing that because then my name started to get like a little tarnished and not people appreciating the work. And they just wanted something for free. Yeah. So
if you had a guess, how many people do you think you've messaged over the years?
I have no idea. It was so many because I was, when you're in that position, you just throw out as many as you can just to get like one reply. I still listen to podcasts and clips like emailing. Like people are on an email list and they shoot out like 100 emails just to hoping to get one, And I was kind of in that boat, but I wasn't doing that many, but quite a few.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good little place to pause because coming from Lowrider, I feel like they are so into like big black and gray pieces. Like that's what they're known for. That's what they do. And now you're kind of, you know, you're DMing influencers and you're kind of getting into like this new era of tattoos where people maybe don't want like a giant statue piece tattooed on their forearm.
Yeah.
Now they're getting into like, hey, I want like a little dainty heart, or I want a little micro portrait. And that's where kind of tattooing started, right? They're like, I just want these little tattoos.
Yeah.
And now it's almost like reverting back to that, where it's like a new like style of like influencer micro tattoos. And I know a lot of tattoo artists that are like, man, I don't want to do that. It's almost like they're like, I don't want to do those tattoos. But I feel like you're almost known for that.
Yeah.
You know, like that's kind of what people that I talk to that follow you that don't know that I know you, they're like, oh yeah, he's the guy that does all those little micro portraits, even though you do big pieces, right? Did you ever feel like there was maybe pushback from other artists that you know when you started doing that, or did you maybe yourself feel like, I don't want to do these these little tiny tattoos?
Yeah. When I first started going out to LA, they just wanted like the little stuff, and then I've always used a 3-liner, which is like pretty small, but it's not a single needle. And as I started going to LA, everybody was like, I want a single needle. I want a single needle. And I was like, I don't do that. Like I do with the 3. And they're like, this is what I want. I was like, oh, okay. So I really didn't want to do it. But I had to learn. I bought the stuff. I asked this other artist, his name's Kane, and he had been doing single needle for a little while. And I said, yo, like, you know, what do I need to do? Or like, what are some like machines that you use and stuff? And so he gave me some tips, and I was like, all right. And I just listened to what he said. And then I just started doing it. And then I found myself enjoying it. I was like, "Wow, this is pretty sick." It's really challenging to like not fuck up these lines, or to get something so small. And people liked it, and that's in my heart. That's not what I wanted to be known for, but as long as people know me for tattooing, I guess that's okay.
Yeah. And you're flexible enough now to be able to do more things. Like the way I kind of look at it is you're adding weapons to the arsenal. Like you can do the bigger stuff.
Arrows to your quiver.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's 30 different analogies you can use right there, dude. Like,
there's 2 now.
You could add no tools to your toolbox. You know what I mean?
Guy, bro.
I used to carry a toolbox for my tattoo stuff, but now I have a cool little.
You got any more
suitcase.
analogies you want to throw out there?
Oh my gosh.
You good on that? Okay. All right.
How quickly he gets there.
Oh, we're good. All right. I just wanted to check before we moved on. So you talked about this a little bit as well, like transitioning from being known as the guy that does free stuff to now you're like, hey, I don't do free stuff anymore. There's 2 parts of that. Talk about how you started communicating that to people that knew you as the guy that does free stuff, and then also internally, how did you start rationalizing for yourself, like, I'm worth this amount?
When they said like I do free stuff, it was never for free. It was always a trade of like I get promotion and you get a tattoo, But once people said like it's free and they didn't understand like the promotion side, or like I'm trying to do this to grow, not saying like you're I was trying to go after people who had like a large following and that I could get work from and get eyes on my thing. And then when I started charging, I just started charging like a small amount. So it wasn't a lot. It was just like, hey, I need. Okay. Also, in those emails, I would say if you would like to tip me, you can. It was never like I need money from you, but it was like I was putting it out there, like, hey, maybe give me $1.
Yeah.
But when I started charging, it was like just a small amount, and I felt bad at some points because people hadn't known me for like kind of the trade thing. And when I started coming like back around, I was like, all right, well, it's going to be this much now. And again, it wasn't that much, I guess, in like in the tattoo world, but it was more than like they weren't expecting to pay me anything. So then they were like, and I didn't really like that feeling. So I tried to tell them like, I would give them their last tattoo and be like, hey, next time I'm going to hit you with this. And then they're like, okay. And a lot of those people, they don't have me back anymore, but which is fine because again, they don't see the value, and I want people to see the value in what I do. Yeah. So, and with other, people that I wasn't doing trades with, who hit me up, it's just, you do this tattoo so many times and you get hit up and you're like, okay, I'm gonna raise the price. And then, supply and demand. A lot of people want to get this tattoo. I don't want to do it that many times. The price goes up. If you want to pay, you can get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like most stuff, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And then, so you're still doing house calls to this day.
Yeah.
Talk about when you're tattooing all these influencers And now people are starting to come with these people to get tattooed, right? Like it's not just they show up or you go to their house. Now people are starting to go with these people to their tattoo appointment. And because you're doing these smaller tattoos, it's not like you're tattooing for 8 hours.
Yeah.
And so talk about those people who, and I think we know who I'm talking about specifically, but how you went from I'm trying to cultivate all these people to now I'm like, okay, now people actually know who I am. I'm starting to grow rapidly.
Yeah. One of the first people that I tattooed was this girl. Her name was Shanley, and she hung out with like a lot of skateboarders and stuff. And I went to go tattoo her, and she actually was getting like a bigger piece. So I got to do this big piece, and then one of the skateboarders that she would was hanging out with was Nigel Houston, and he came to one of the sessions. I met him, and I had. You shouldn't do this, but I did this because I didn't know. But he came in and he was like, "Hey, what's up?" I was like, "Hey, what's up? I met you one time, you know." And then he was like, "I don't fucking know who you are," but he had come to the shop to get tattooed from Sam, the guy who did Sam Dusenberry, who did this tattoo on my arm, and he's like, "Oh, cool," and I was like, "All right." Anyways, but so I got in with their group, and then somebody else from their group hit me up, and I went to his house maybe like a week later. And Nigel showed up to that party again, or not party, but to that house, and then that's when I first tattooed him. I tattooed something on his leg, and then he had just hit me up like here and there throughout the year, and then I was asked to come to his birthday party in like November, and then that's when things like really started to take off. Like people saw me throughout the year, like I tattooed him a couple times, and they were like, "Oh, that's cool, that's cool." But once I tattooed him at his birthday party, and they saw me like around everybody, that's when. Like I had the best month of my life the next month, and everybody was like, they just wanted to hear about it, you know?
Yeah.
So they came, and I was like, this is sick. And like I mentioned before, I didn't have a car, so I was renting a car. I would go and get a car, and I had no money to pay for this car, and then I would work, for like the 2 weeks, and then I would pay off the car, and then I would have to do it again the next week. And I was doing that so I can drive back and forth to LA because Ubers were getting too expensive. And then so his birthday is in November, so in December, I made like a good chunk of money, and I was able to like save, and I got a car like a couple months later to like because I paid off all my bills and stuff. So that's like when it really started to like take off, and I think that was in 2018, and then 2019 is when I started to, like every month I was just like working. I got my own space in Pasadena.
That's sick,
Dude, talk about betting on yourself.
I know.
You go to a car rental place, don't even have the money to rent the car.
Yeah. Enterprise.
Rent the car, and then, dude, that's such an insane concept to think about.
In your mind, though, you're ever like, dude, what if this doesn't work? What if I don't? Like, what's going on in your mind when you're swiping the credit card at that time?
Well, they only charge you, like they only take a small amount, and I was like, I have a little bit, but I know that I can make this money. I didn't even think about worrying about it. I was just like, I have appointments, like. I got it. And then if I didn't have appointments for a couple weeks, I would like Uber back and forth. But towards like the end of the year, I was renting it out for like 2 weeks, and it was expensive. Like it was like $2,000 for 2 weeks for this rental car, and I only had a portion of it, so I was like, I can make this easy. But then all my money would go to that car, and then I have to do it again. Then the next
and then you get to the place where now you're getting super booked out, and you're starting to break that cycle.
Yeah. So. December, I made a lot of money. January, I made about the same amount. And then February, I got my car, and I was like, I'm a boss. And then I could go anywhere I want. And then I was like, fuck, I got a monthly car payment. But it was less than the two. Like
it was less than $2,000.
Yeah. So it worked out for me, I guess.
Yeah.
That's sick, dude.
So now in 2019, right? That was 2018. Now 2019, you're thinking, okay, I need my own spot. I need my own studio, or is that? What was the thought process?
I didn't think about it like right away. It was just because I was going out to LA so much. I think in like 3 months I put like 40,000 miles on my car, just every other day, just going back and forth. And I lived in Corona at the time, so I don't know how far it is, but just back and forth every single day. And I was hardly at the studio in it was in Orange. I was hardly there, so I told Miguel, hey Miguel, I've been looking for a spot in LA. I've been going out there so much. I just need to be closer. If I'm going to do all these house calls all the time, I just need to be closer to being over there. And I think he was like a little bummed. But then like a month later, he's like, oh yeah, I got a new spot too, so you got to get out. I was like, oh fuck. So he kind of
worked out.
Yeah, he lit a fire underneath me again. And then I found the spot that I'm at now, and I'm pretty happy there. It's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about too, like, there's such a stigma around being a struggling artist. Like, it's almost like it's honor in that. And, you know, going from place of struggle, having to constantly like break a cycle, constantly lighting a fire underneath yourself to like motivate yourself really to work harder. Like, what's shifted from then to maybe where your mindset's at now?
I think when you're in the moment, I'm not like third perspective looking at it, but now looking back, I was like, oh, yeah, there was a fire lit because I didn't have anything. I had to do this. And I think right now is because I have employees. It's like, I have the fire again. Like, I need to do something to maintain like a healthy life balance. Cause I'm working quite a bit, like right now, almost 7 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. You know, working 30 days a month is like not easy.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like all concentration, you know, I have to focus, you know, like this. And, yeah, it's not good for me.
Yeah.
So I need to work hard so I can take some days off and not feel like the stress of having to, you know, so I can take care of like the people around me.
Right. Yeah. And then you get to the point too where you're just doing so much volume, you just start charging more and working less and
Yeah, exactly.
doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But the thing that I'm, you know, it hasn't happened, but I am like mindful is that like, if you're not sharpening your sword, the sword will get dull. So I don't want to stop working so much that my tattoos take a dive, because I want to stay, you know, relatively good for a long time.
Yeah.
So I just need maybe a little extra help.
Yeah.
A little extra income to where I don't feel like I have to do it 7 days a week. You know,
Right.
maybe 4 days a week, and I still think that'll keep everything
Yeah.
crispy, as we've been saying.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, how do you balance the stress of working 362 days a year, and like staying sharp? Because, you know, like part of being able to stay sharp and crispy is just feel relaxed and rejuvenated and all those things. Like, how do you balance that?
Well,
Or do you?
I don't start work until 2:00 in the afternoon, so I try to get like a good amount of sleep. I don't drink, I don't smoke. I try to eat healthy. So, you know, I try to take care of myself, which helps. You know, it doesn't always help, but, you know, I offer free touch-ups if you need to come back, you know, and yeah, I wouldn't say I mess up tattoos. It's just like if one line is a little bit lighter than this one or whatever, like come back, I'll touch it up, no problem. But also I've been trying to take more time for myself. So this year I got to go to Japan. I went for 25 days. I worked twice while I was there, but I went to have a good time.
Yeah.
Another thing I like to do, I've been doing this more recently, is that there's a sushi spot by my house, and I go there like 2 or 3 times a week. I've become friends with everybody, you know, who works there, and it's nice to go there and say, hey, what's up? And they all like know my name. I'm trying to learn everybody's name there. I'm really bad with remembering, but I know their face and what's up, you know? So that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now, is just take time to do things that I like to do, and I like to go out and eat and stuff.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
You still getting tattooed a lot?
Not too much, but I just got these new ones right here. I got this one in the middle from Japan, from this tattoo artist named Spell, and it means to smile. Well, the kanji is to smile, but in Japanese they use it as like as a LOL, you know, just like ha ha ha.
Yeah.
And then I just got these flowers added to the sides of it from my friend. Her name is Cheyenne, and she's from Vancouver. And we did a convention like a month ago in Pasadena.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Adding to the collection.
Yeah. Dude, I know you're doing a lot of things other than tattooing.
Yeah.
Right? I'm pretty sure there's a tequila seltzer company that you're involved with.
Yes.
Pretty heavily invested in. You know, I know that nothing's official, but I know that you want to do something with Coachella, which I think is a rad idea. Do you want to talk about that at all? Talk about any of those things?
Yeah. So let's talk about Havana first. So Havana is a canned cocktail. It's not a seltzer. It has a little bit of bubbles in it, but it's a cocktail. It's organic. It's tequila. It's good for you. It tastes good.
I'm sold.
Yeah, you should. Everybody should drink it. And we're going pretty quick. We got a major store, Whole Foods, and we're hitting almost like every other like supermarket in California right now. Whole Foods, Pavilions, Stater Brothers, Ralph's, and it's just in California. But we're trying to expand, I think, to Florida this next year, and then you know, more states to come, I guess. But I'm really excited about that. And I got involved with that from somebody. He was a client, became a friend, and now became like, in the same business, I guess. His name's Austin, and he was in college. He's like, yo, I started working with this guy. He was telling me about it, and I was like, I want to be a part of that. And so, we worked together, and we made something happen. And so I have a little bit of okay. I have a little bit of equity in that, but I don't want to say that like on here.
That's fine.
Yeah,
we don't have to put that in there.
Okay. But I have like a little bit of a networker at all. Like I don't go out to events. I don't, like I said, I connect with people in like a personal level.
Yeah.
And so it's different when you're connecting with like a business level.
Sure.
Business level, you go out, you have dinners, you do this, you talk about business. I talk about like, what are you going through now?
Yeah. But dude, that's what a good networker would say, dude.
Bro.
That's like they say like the best salespeople are the ones that you don't know you're getting sold to.
Okay.
All right.
Dude, you know how I know he's a good networker? Every shop that he's left, they're all like, I'm super bummed you're leaving, dude. Like, that tells me that people, you build good relationships with other people, which at the end of the day, that's all networking is just building a relationship with someone that you want to work with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so in that aspect, dude, you're probably one of the better networkers. Now, maybe you don't actively go and do that.
Right. But I think that's probably your superpower in that.
Oh, yeah.
What's like one of the cooler connections that you've made like doing this? I'm sure you've got several that you can dive into, but
I don't know. I met like just a lot of people that I didn't think that I would meet. Are you trying to ask like who I've tattooed or who like?
Yeah, like like obviously you Nigel Houston.
Yeah.
I know that you've tattooed like Wiz Khalifa, Ty Dolla $ign. Like what was that like?
That was pretty sick. So I guess the connection that led me to those connections is this guy named Kifa, and we've become friends, over the years, and we were kind of like in a similar boat. When I first started going to LA, again, like I didn't have a car, I didn't have all this stuff, and he was just like, sleeping on people's couches, and he was, hustling as well. And he became an A&R at Atlantic, and then he started working. His first guy that he signed was Roddy Ricch, and so like, I would get to go to the studio. He would like invite me over to the studio, and so I was there before he like really really blew up, and I got to be there while they were like making some like, his big records, and then from that, he was. I don't know if he signed somebody. I don't know. He started working with Ty Dolla $ign, so he invited me again, and I was tattooing Ty when he was making some music, and then Wiz hit up Kifa and was like, "Yo, should I come to the studio?" And he was like, "Yeah, we're just doing tattoos, hanging out." And so Wiz came at like 2 a.m. and then he just wanted like a small tattoo, and so I did that one. And yeah, it happened organically. Like nothing has like been forced. It's just like I met this guy. We were kind of in the same boat. And then it just like, hey, meet this guy. Hey, meet this guy. Hey, this is Wiz. And I was like, hey, what's up? So it doesn't feel like pressure. It just feels all like friends.
Yeah,
coming.
That's the way it should feel.
Yeah. Currently, like who are you looking at like artistically, where you're like, man, I really like what that person's doing, and not even in tattooing, but just like artistically, who are your some inspirations right now?
I have this friend. His name's Devin, and he does a lot of like large scale paintings, and again I saw him kind of at like the beginning of his career, and he's just taken off, and his paintings are just getting better. He's getting like more realistic, adding like a lot of values to his or it's getting more realistic. He's adding like floral stuff, he's adding like drapery, and just like becoming more detail oriented with his paintings, and it's cool to see that progress, and it's like it motivates me to like, okay, I got to get better at doing this and doing this and doing this. And then, let's see, who else do I like? Tattoo wise, there's so many. This guy named Alex Sorsa, he's sick. I could be saying his name wrong too. But he's on Instagram. I know his page. He's tight. Let's see, Miguel always, has been an inspiration, and it's cool that he's my friend. Also, he hit me up yesterday, and he said he wants to get tattooed from me, and that just like I was like, oh, yeah, like I almost don't even want to believe it, and I almost don't even want to do it either. It's just like, no, you don't want a tattoo from me, Let's see who else. I mean, Jose's always inspiration, and Jose's doing a lot more like art stuff, which
Yeah.
is inspiring me to like maybe step away or give myself a day to like do a painting or do something more creative, not just tattooing, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, those are just like a few that I like. There's more other artists too. Hugo also is incredible. His like contrast in his work is insane. It just keeps on getting better. I don't know. Yeah.
What are some of the ways that you express yourself artistically? Like you mentioned painting. Do you do anything, like you play instruments? Like what else do you do?
Absolutely nothing. I just tattoo. That's it. I tried. I have a couple paintings in my house that I started, and then people will come in like, oh, you do other artwork as well, and I said I abandon other artwork. I do tattoos. You know, that's all I do, and that's why I want to get more. I want to get into it a little bit. Art more. Actually, I've been baking a lot of cookies.
My dog.
Hey,
Yeah,
What
I'm
kind?
getting into baking.
What kind? What kind?
Chocolate chip.
Okay.
Yeah.
You gotta start somewhere.
I gotta start with like the best, the fundamental cookie, and then I can go out from there.
Yeah.
My chocolate chips are pretty good.
Pretty fire, huh?
Fallon brought one, but Fallon is my assistant. She's over here, but she brought a cookie, and I think she ate it. So you guys can't have any. Sorry.
It's really unfortunate. We're gonna have to split that like 6 different ways.
Hey, bro, exactly.
Yeah.
Golly.
Next time we're gonna have to.
I'll bake some and I'll bring some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're saying it, so I got it.
Nah,
We gotta back it up.
We gotta listen.
listen,
Call me Keith Lee, bro. We gotta test these
Dude,
things. You know what I mean?
his Instagram's full of tattoos. We can verify those. We can't verify right now at this point in time is the baking skills.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now.
I gotta fine tune a little stuff. I'm still tweaking the recipe,
Oh,
but
here-
you know what?
There it is.
But
There
they're
we
pretty
go.
good so far. I just want them to be a little bit like thicker. You know?
Sure.
But
Yeah.
they're getting a little bit too thin. They're not thin, but they're just thinner than what I want.
Yeah.
You know, I need them to be thick, thick daddy.
Some thickums.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm curious. This is just something I was curious about when I was driving. I heard it. It's like, what is either the worst tattoo that somebody's asked you to do, or B, like, is there anything that you wouldn't do? Like, do you have any boundaries of like,
yeah.
dude, I'm not gonna do that in that part of your body, or is there anything like that?
The worst. I don't think I've ever done like a worst tattoo.
Or something that someone brought to you and you're like, bro, what is this, dog?
Okay, this is when I was tattooing in my garage, which makes it a little bit more weird, I guess. But this guy had asked me if he's like, I want to tattoo a name on my penis, and I was like, I was freshly started tattooing, and I was like, I need some money, so I was like, yeah, sure, I was like, yeah. But at the time, I was only charging like $100, maybe $150 for like a large tattoo,
Bro.
and I was like, it's gonna be $1,000, and he was like, I'm not paying that, and I was like, well, I'm not touching your dick for anything less, and then so he never got it, and then so I had that in my mind, like I was willing to do this at one point, and then
What's the number now? What's the number today?
now I don't think I do it anymore. Yeah, I think like I don't know, I don't think that's a good idea for me.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
Yeah. I think my skills are better used on other parts.
I would agree.
I like
with
how you
that.
preface. I think it's even worse that it was in my garage.
Yeah.
At least, hey, listen. At least you hadn't moved to the bedroom yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would
right.
that would
Oh my
be even
gosh.
worse, bro.
I just can't imagine my mom like coming home and I'm just like having my hand, this guy's dick in my hand, like, hey, what's up, mom? And
Well, then we won't get into it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no recourse from that, bro. Like you're kind of stuck at that point.
Is there any tattoos that you would like not do? Like, there's some
Other than
tattoo
that,
artists,
yeah.
like that they won't do. Like, I want to get my girlfriend's name tattooed on me, or will you do those, or is that like?
Everything comes at a price.
Yeah.
But I advise like strongly, like I don't want to do this. I don't think you should do this. Maybe you can get something that like represents her. So like in the future, if somebody asks you, why do you have this, whatever, it's just like, it was like a time in my life, whatever. It's
Right.
not like a name. But I strongly advise you not to do that. Do not get your girlfriend's tattoo. Do not get Kevin across your forehead.
Did you see that whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh
That's
my-
fake, by the way.
I know,
But,
yeah.
But do not do that. The thing that I say absolutely no to is color. Like, I just don't do color tattoos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just do fine line black and gray. So color's just not my forte.
Is there anyone out there that you like see and you're like, man, I really want to get tattooed by that person?
Yeah, there's a few.
Because I have a couple that I would want to like. I definitely want to get tattooed by.
Yeah, I mean, a big one. It was is Eric Marcinizan. He's sick,
Yeah.
and he doesn't post on Instagram anymore, which is kind of a bummer. But everybody was stealing his work, so I understand. I think it'd be sick to get a Jose tattoo. I just don't know if I could sit for 37 hours straight.
At 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, 2:00 in the morning.
Well, all those lowrider guys, they're like, they don't start tattooing until like 12.
Yeah, this is true.
You know,
Let's see. Eric is sick.
12 a.m. by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Like when I first started, Jose didn't get there till 5, and he doesn't start working till like 7, 8,
Wow.
and then he works till the next day at like 8. I stayed at the studio one time till 10 a.m. And then he's like, "All right, see you tomorrow." And I'm like, "It is tomorrow."
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. But who I want to get tattooed? I mean, there's so many, and I never wanted like a full bodysuit, but I feel like there's too many great artists that I should consider it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that you're really involved now in kind of like or getting into the place where you're going to be doing like laser removal stuff too, and kind of exploring that. Talk about like how important is that for you to be able to help people express what they want and also get to a place where maybe it's a ex-girlfriend's name or something like that, where just getting people to find meaning in their art again.
Yeah. So I've been toying with the idea of getting like a laser removal spot. I've looked into it a very small amount. I need to do a lot more research and to see like how I can make this possible. But it seems in California it's like a little bit more difficult, and you actually need a lot like doctors and like nurses to actually do the procedure. It's
probably a good idea.
Yeah, but I know in other states like you can have just like a cosmetology license and you can do it that way. But it seems a little bit more difficult. But I think that would be like a great idea to have. Not only do I put nice tattoos on somebody that they want and that they love, but I can take away a bad one that like they don't feel too happy about. Or
why is that like super important for you?
Nobody wants to have like a bad memory on them. I have an unfavorable tattoo that I want to get removed so I can get a bigger piece on that spot. It's just like every day I look at it, I'm just like, and but the problem is I don't really know where to go. So there's a couple places out there that I can like do the research, but there's no like maybe like popular place that will remove it and do a good job. And so I want to create a facility to where like this is where you go for tattoo removal. Like they don't really do anything else. They don't no Botox, none of this other stuff. And they're really good at it, and they'll remove it in a short amount of time, and it won't take 37 sessions.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's I want to make people feel good. That's why I do tattoos. You do a tattoo, they get a sick tat, like this is dope, and then they feel good about it. And then when you get a tattoo, you're just like, I'm not too happy about this, and you want to get it removed, and you don't know where to go. It's just like, oh well, I guess I'm just stuck with this thing in my arm forever.
Yeah.
Or leg, wherever you get it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's important for you to make people feel that experience.
Yeah.
And you're almost full service at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but when you kind of peel back, because again, a lot of people, they get into whatever they do just for surface level reasons. But when you like really peel back the onion of like why you do it and how important it is for you to make people feel good about what they have on their bodies, it makes sense that you kind of expand that out. But I guess looking forward for you, what's sort of the vision moving forward? Are you trying to get to a place where you've got employees, you've got a school, you've got a shop, or you got a lot of people working out of? Like, what does that look like?
No school. I didn't do good at school. I don't think owning a school would be like good. 'Cause if I was going to teach somebody, it would be like, just do it. I don't fucking know. I got it here. You could do it too. But I think having maybe even partnering up with a laser removal place. I don't know how financially how that will work, but whatever, partnering up with like a laser place, that'd be sick. Maybe having like a product that I can put out there, but that's eco-friendly. Something that I worry about is I use a lot of plastic, and I want to stop using plastic. I know there's like plastic alternatives out there, but most of it is derived from plastic.
Yeah.
So ideally I would like to not have like an empire, but have something that is good for the environment, helps people feel better, and people get happy for the tattoo. People get happy removing a tattoo, and then the earth is happy that I'm providing the service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like everybody that works with you, and just in the time that I've gotten to know you, your energy is very infective. Like people, I feel like resonate with that. What's like the legacy that you would want to leave in this space?
Man, I haven't thought about like a legacy. I just want to be myself. I don't want to have to conform to anything that like stereotypes of like what a tattoo artist is or should be or how they should act. I know there's a lot of negative ones out there, and hopefully I think the new generation is kind of like changing that a little bit, and it's not so like negative and creepy, vibes. And I would hear that a lot from, a long time ago. I don't really hear that too much anymore. Yeah, just like, oh, that, if anybody talks about me, I guess, oh, he was sick. He was nice. I got a sick tattoo, stuff like that. I don't need to be like, he was the richest tattoo artist out there, anything like that. But just happy, good energy. Like I liked my time when I was there.
Yeah,
that's basically what I strive for.
That's dope, dog.
Man.
Justin, where can people find you on social media?
Well, my Instagram is Justin V Tattoos. My TikTok is Justin V Tattoos. My email is justinvtattoos@gmail. Just Justin V Tattoos is pretty much everything.
Justin V. You got a middle name?
Justin V.
Do I have a middle name?
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you.
At least not with these cameras rolling.
Yeah.
Come on now. Justin, I appreciate your time, man. It was awesome getting to hear a little bit about your story.
Thanks.
Give this man a follow. If you want a great tattoo and a great experience, go see him, email him, message him, reach out to him, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Thanks. Slide into my DMs. I won't reply to you.